So I've been reading a book that is all about the ways to heal developmental trauma. And this book talks about 5 different types of survival or adaptation techniques that we use and develop in our early childhood to cope with our needs not being met. And there's no perfect parent, so we all tend to have a little bit of at least one of these. And there's one that I really identify with, which is the connection survival style or adaptive style. And what it says is that for the connection survival style, we feel a shame about existing, feel like a burden, and a perpetual feeling of not belonging. We feel pride in being a loner, pride in not needing others, and pride in not being emotional. So people with the connection survival style have disconnected from their bodies and disconnected from relationship to others. So essentially they've used isolation as a coping mechanism, or they learned to love isolation because they had to. So for me personally, I experienced really immense disassociation, and it's caused me panic attacks, lots of anxiety. I'm on medication for it right now. What it says is when early life experience has been traumatic, the trauma lives on in the form of high arousal states. Unresolved high arousal becomes the source of a relentless, nameless dread, a continuous sense of impending doom that never seems to resolve. It says that the connection survival style experience the lifelong difficulty of managing the physiological dysregulation of these high levels of arousal, as well as the resulting psychological disorientations and distortions of identity. They function by using disassociation to disconnect from the distress in their body. As a result, the child and the later adult are left with system dysregulation and a narrowed range of resiliency that leaves them vulnerable to later traumas. So basically, these 2 types will do anything they possibly can to avoid what they're feeling, avoid being in their body. So there are 2 main ways that they do this. So the first one is through thinking. So they escape their experience in their lives by experiencing everything in their head. So that could be fantasizing all the time. That could be fixating on the past and X all the time so you don't have to deal with the present moment. And the other variation of this is spiritual, using spirituality to completely escape reality. It says to make sense of the pain of their lives, they often become spiritual seekers, trying to convince themselves that someone loves them. If people do not, then God must. Part 2 up next.